Have y'all been keeping up with this Jonah Hill thing? Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. So real quick, if you don't know what it is, Jonah Hill's ex put out a bunch of his text messages to her while they were dating, and she was a surfer. She still is, and then they were dating while she was surfing, and it's him being like, "Why you gotta surf around men, and why you got?" And she's like a surfer and a surf instructor. She's like, "Why you gotta surf with men, and why you gotta post pictures of yourself surfing in a bikini and all that?" So it was all this shit like that, right? And it just you can see a decline in the text messages where he's clearly so worried about being cheated on, he's not making sense. He's like, "Why you gotta surf with dude? Because then if you're surfing and then he's surfing, what if y'all start surfing on each other?" You know what I mean? And then like y'all are surfing together, and what if you get surf in your mouth? And then now you were just covered in surf, and you come home and you're like got surf on you. I was like, nigga, are you all right? Like, you know, so there's been a lot of backlash about him being narcissistic and misogynistic and everything. And I think Jonah Hill committed a cardinal sin. He really did. Jonah Hill told a woman what to do while being an ugly motherfucker. Can't do that shit. You cannot do that shit. Like, look at the text and then look at his face. You cannot tell anybody what to do, sir. That's too much bass in your text right now for that hairline you got, you know? I'm not gonna lie, if John Hamm had sent those same texts, if John Hamm was like, "I don't want you talking to any other men," you'd be like, "Okay, daddy." Like, yes. Did y'all see the Alabama brawl? Yo, who knew Wakanda was in Alabama? That was crazy. You know, that was wild. So many people came out of nowhere. That shit was like Black January 6th. That was like, that was crazy. If you didn't see the video, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain it really quick. Basically, there was this one guy. He was an employee of the place, right? And he was like asking these people to move their boat, you know? So it was a black employee, but he was asking these people who happened to be white that had the boat to move their boat, and they wouldn't move the boat. I don't even know if this part is true, but I heard that the riverfront boat that was waiting to dock had been waiting for like 40 minutes because these people refused to move, right? So finally he just keeps going, like, "You gotta move the boat, you gotta move the boat." They get out of their boat, they're cursing at him, and he's not backing down. He's like, "You have to move the boat, I work here, you have to move the boat." And then they just keep cursing at him. Finally they put hands on him, and then they start fighting him, and he did his best. He held his own for quite a while. So it's not like they beat his ass, but they were clearly ganging up on this dude, right? And, you know, a lot of people, as soon as they saw the video, they got upset. I got upset when I thought it was going to bum me out, just seeing like 5 white dudes ganging up on this like middle-aged black dude and everything. And some people were upset about the racial part immediately. But I'm not going to lie, I was distracted. I wasn't. I didn't hate these people because they were ganging up on them and they were white. I hated them because they had a boat. You know what I mean? This isn't just a race thing. These rich fucks with a boat are trying to beat up a working class person. Is insane. You know, made me furious. And then they started fighting them, and then like other people came. And, you know, a lot of black people already saw what was happening. So then when the riverfront boat docked and other black people who saw what was happening, they all just swarmed. It looked like, like that one episode in Game of Thrones where, you know, they were losing, but then just more just came down the mountain. It was like, I was like, God damn, okay, wow. Send in the troops, apparently. I should back up. When the fight started, the initial fight where the dude was getting ganged up on, he just threw his hat. Just threw it, and that almost felt like a signal. That was, as a black person, I didn't know that was our call to arms. I didn't know this was like, oh, okay, all right, we go now. That was wild to begin with. Then it was crazy because then so many people swarmed in, it turned into a huge brawl, and I don't know if you saw a video, but there was one person that wanted to help when they saw him getting jumped so badly. that this nigga swam. Jumped in the water. From the camera angle, we don't know where he came from. I'd like to think he came from Africa. I'd like to think he started swimming 6 weeks ago in preparation. Because look, if you know, the history of black people swimming, especially in the South, you know that we're not known for it. You know what I mean? And so I'm not gonna critique his swimming because I was just happy to see another black dude swim. That's just, every one of us swimming is a W, okay? But I do have to comment, because he wasn't swimming normal. Did you see him swim? He wasn't swimming regular. This was not regular swimming, right? This man wasn't swimming to the fight. This man was punching the water till he got there. I knew he was gonna whoop ass when he got out of the water, because he would... I've never seen someone punch water till they got to their location. That was so crazy. Go back and watch the video. This man punching with horsepower. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And then he gets out of the water, starts whooping ass, everybody whooping ass and everything. So you know that those white people, when it started fighting, then started more fighting, you know they were relieved when the cops got there, but they must have been conflicted, because half the cops were black. Like, that's a situation where even when the cops arrive, you're like, ooh, whose side are you on? Because I was kind of doing a thing before you got here. You know what I mean? Honestly, that's what's so wild, because I think also, I've tried to put my mind I've tried to put myself in the mind of each person that was in the video in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a terrifying thing. To get jumped is a terrifying thing. Then the person swimming. Then I'm just trying to think about every angle that I could think about it from. I'm not gonna lie. That must have been a huge surprise, because you out here ganging up on this one dude with your buddies, and then before you know it, there's just like 50 black people. That's... Listen, I'm telling you right now, let's say y'all just blinked, and when you opened your eyes, there were 50 black people behind me. I'm not even saying you'd be scared, but you'd be surprised. You'd be like, wow, that was fast. That's all you'd say. You know? Because that's the thing. That's, I think, the strangest part, one of the weirdest parts, like when you start watching the video, let's say you start watching the video, you had no context, nobody told you what was gonna happen, you hadn't seen any of the memes yet. The craziest thing about what happens is that, especially as a black person, I think some people are curious why black people have been memeing the shit out of it and everything. It's because if you know the South and you know the history of 5 white guys ganging up on a black guy and how that usually goes, you know, especially when they have enough money for a boat. Usually doesn't turn out well, you know what I mean? And so this was a different thing. This is a different outcome than we've ever really seen before, you know? Because I'll be honest with you. Let's say we're in a different time and there's no camera phones and they were able to leave before the cops got there. They would have just beat up that dude and left, you know? And that's my thing, where it's like, okay, yeah, whoop their ass, we all laugh, we all celebrate, whatever, but like, fuck up that boat. Like, fuck up the... What are you doing? Like, bust up the bow or something. Like, rip a rudder out, please. I do think that would hurt them more than the ass whooping. They just be standing there and looking like skippers. Not the boat! You know what's actually crazy? I thought about this weekend. You know what I've never done at all in my life? I had to really think about it. Never once in my life have I Googled Jada Pinkett Smith. So why do I know so much? Why do any of us know so much? Isn't that crazy? I've never even Googled Jada and Will. I've never sought any of this information. I know so much about them, it feels like we're related. It's devastating. I don't know if y'all saw the most recent interview. She's given her 1,000th. And in it, she says that she says so many things. First of all, she said that she sold crack when she lived in Baltimore, which is like believable. That's a very entry-level job in Baltimore. That part I was like, and? But then she also said her and Will have been separated for like 7 years. Which what? She also said that Tupac is her soulmate. It's like she's going out of her way to hurt Will's feelings now. This is really insane. Tupac is your soulmate. You've been married for decades. My soulmate's a guy from the 90s. And the more I think about it, and the more I listen to Jada talk, the more that I'm convinced that Tupac died to get away from her. Like, I feel like... Easily. They dated for a while, you know what I mean? And then he got a taste of what Will has lived with. And then he was in Vegas and he got into it with some dudes on some gang shit and stuff like that. And they shot at him and he thought about what life would be like with Jada. And so he just leaned into the bullet. She said they haven't been together. Her and Will have not been together since 2016, which does make the slap more confusing now. That's right, because like that, they haven't lived together since 2016. Now it feels less like you were defending your wife and more like you just wanted to hit Chris Rock. Like, turn that man to a tambourine for no reason. That's insane. It really is. Like, what? Not even defending your wife at this point. You were defending your neighbor, I guess. Haven't lived together since 2016. It also makes the entanglement more confusing now. Watching Will and Jada is just like the Black Inception. You know what I mean? It's just a nightmare and a nightmare and a nightmare. There's twists that nobody asked for. What? Entanglement. Because then, this is my thing. If they weren't together, why'd they have that whole talk acting like they were together? It made them look worse. Why did they do that? It made her look like a cheater and him look like a cuck, but then they weren't together. So what's the big deal now? I mean, the big deal is that she fucked her son's friend, which is... A lot of people don't know that. That was Jaden's friend. So Jaden over there waiting for play dates and stuff. Ain't nobody showing up like it's a Brazzers video. It's so chaotic. No, it's just very chaotic. And look, I want to be fair for a second. I do want to be fair. Everyone comes for Jada and everybody shits on Jada so hard. And I get it. It's easy because she won't stop talking. But like, some of this is on Will. We can all agree about some of this is genuinely on Will. People blame Jada for the slap. That's not her fault. That's a grown man. And he got up there and he slapped another grown man. You can't blame her for that. It's not like she used her powers. And people blame a lot of the marriage stuff on just Jada. Will is also married to Jada. You know what I mean? He could get a divorce if he wants to, but he doesn't want to. He does not want, and if you pay attention to the interviews, he said it. Divorce is not an option. He'd rather them live as single people and still be married than to get a divorce. Which is weird. It is weird. I understand. For a long time, they were the symbol of black love, especially in Hollywood, right? And that's a symbol that he carefully curated that maybe she didn't want to be a part of, but it's one of the reasons he can't let it go, because it's a failure that he will not accept, right? But to just live as two single people but still be married is weird. It's very odd. Who is it for? It's not for them. They're not together. It's not for us, because now she aired it out. Everybody knows. It's not for the kids, because they're already weird. So who is this for? And like, I mean, it must be rough. I do get it. I have empathy for both of them genuinely, because I think Will, you know, came on strong, wants to make it work and everything, and Jada was just not having it. And a part of me, you know, I'm wrapping up, but just a part of me, a part of me gets it. Because if it's not the life that she wanted, it shouldn't be the life she accepted. That's fair. You're an adult in the world and you make your own decisions and you need to live by them, right? But also, to be fair to her, I don't have a gorgeous millionaire trying to fuck me and marry me. I don't know. It probably seems pretty hard to turn down. I'm not gonna lie. Like if Zendaya walked in here right now and y'all look like you're together, if she told you, bro, if she was like, I want to marry you and be with you for the rest of my life, you'd probably be like, look, I'm in a happy relationship and I found my happiness. I hope you find yours. I'm not saying it'd be easy to say to her. You'd probably say it after I do, but I don't know if y'all saw, but Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty on all charges. If you don't know who Sam Bankman-Fried is, he's the dude who looked like somebody microwaved Shia LaBeouf. He was behind a multi-billion-dollar crypto scandal, and you know, took a lot of people's money. Had a lot of powerful friends, so he could take a lot of people's money. He was found guilty, and you know, he made a serious mistake. He stole money from rich people. Well, when you think about it, it's really all he did wrong. If you steal from the poor, you're gonna be pretty good off. Like, I don't know. This dude is gonna go away for a long time, which is crazy because I don't really understand what he did. But I'm glad he didn't do it to me. I'm like, you ever just, because I never got into crypto because I didn't understand it, so you ever just be so dumb you miss a whole tragedy? You just... Because I saw the whole thing coming. I was having FOMO and everything, and then everybody started losing their money. I was like, maybe it pays to not read sometimes. Maybe it's to my benefit that I have stayed as ignorant as possible on very specific subjects in life. I was having a conversation with a friend from back home, and so many things work in connection together to get me where I am. I saw this article about this guy. I think his name's, I might be mispronouncing it, but Brian Mwende, and he is in Kenya, and he was a lawyer. He was a fake lawyer. And he won 26 cases straight. 26 cases straight, one after the other. WWWW. And then they finally caught him. And now he is awaiting trial, where I pray he represents himself. That's phenomenal. 26. You got fake, and apparently it's a whole thing. I didn't know this. In Kenya, this is a whole thing. There are a bunch of fake lawyers, because he was just the first one. There's a bunch of fake lawyers that just never actually passed the bar, but they've been practicing. I guess they got a storefront or something. Like, I don't know, you just walk in and you're like, you seem like a lawyer. You know, the only way I know any lawyer has been a lawyer that I've ever worked with was the paper on the wall behind their desk. If that's fake, I have a fake lawyer. That's my favorite story, though. My favorite thing that happened was Paris Fashion Week.
if y'all aren't familiar, Paris has Fashion Week, and all these people high up in the fashion world, rich people, celebrities, they all descended on Paris for a week to see and be seen and stuff. And while they were there was an outbreak of bed bugs, which is hilarious. It couldn't be. You gathered all the richest people in the world together in one place and gave them bed bugs? Are we sure this wasn't an activist? You sure this wasn't Greta Thunberg trying new things? You know what I mean? Just her sitting there like, you take a jet, you pays the price. You know, could have been, we don't know. But it was amazing. They gave all those rich people bed bugs. It made me laugh so hard because it's Fashion Week, so half of them dress like bed bugs to begin with. So like, bed bugs probably thought it was mating season, you know what I mean? They were seeing them walk by like, okay, come through, thickness. I'm gonna take a bite of you later. But no, people from Fashion Week spoke to the press and the public, people from the local government spoke to the press and the public and everything, and mostly everyone was trying to maintain a sense of calm the entire time, right? We're very sorry that this is happening. This is not a reflection on our beautiful city. We're doing our best to move people. Just please stick with us, right? But there was one person that was my favorite. The deputy mayor also spoke to the public and the press, but when the deputy mayor came out, he was like, it's an outbreak. No one is safe. What kind of leader says no one is safe? We just came out of a global pandemic where no country's leader said no one is safe, even when no one was safe. That's crazy. Then the mayor, because the mayor came out, she was ready. She was like prim, proper. She made me feel reassured and I wasn't even in Paris, right? And then she got this assistant-ass mayor behind her. No one is safe. She's probably like, get him out of here. It's crazy. No one is safe. Every leader I've ever had has tried to maintain a sense of calm in a crisis. I remember when I was in middle school, in English class. And English class was after lunch. And I had seen this kid at lunch, and he had a nasty-ass lunch. I don't know what it was, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, he gonna be sick. That is disgusting. And so then I sat as far away from him as I could, corner of the classroom. And then middle of class, sure enough, his stomach started bubbling. And we all hear it. He just over here taking notes like... looking at us like, y'all don't hear me, right? It's like, of course we hear you. His stomach is loud as hell. And then in the middle class, he jumps up and runs out. And on the way to running out, because he was very sick, he threw up on the back of like 7 kids' heads. And our teacher said, calm down. I know y'all just got thrown up on. Let me get some towels. It's gonna be fine. She didn't say, no one is safe. You see what I mean? I worked at an Italian restaurant that burned down, right? It burned down, and even as the head chef was trying to put the flames out on his back, no one yelled, no one is safe. We just tried to put this man out. Actually, one of my favorite things about when that happened was, okay, so the chef is on fire, right? And then the line cook ran out to the dining hall where everybody else was, and then just yelled to the whole dining hall, we on fire, motherfuckers! Which is like as informative as it is unhelpful. Like, he's telling them the details, but not enough to get them moving. Also, we are not on fire, just he is on fire. Some of the building is on fire, but mostly as we, it's just him. He on fire by himself, right? And so no one knows what to do, because even if someone ran in now and was like, we on fire, motherfuckers, you wouldn't immediately jump up and run. They looked at him and they were like, so is he on drugs or what? And it wasn't until the chef ran out behind him out the door with a couple flames still on his back that everybody cleared out. He yelled, we on fire, motherfuckers. He didn't yell, no one is safe. What would even possess you to put the words to get to the public, no one is safe? Like when I think about it, now that I think about it, I think that was that deputy mayor low-key admitting he had bed bugs. That's what it was. It had to be no one is safe. That means I'm not safe. That's no one is safe. I wish there was video. There's no video of it happening. But you can tell that this is the case because anytime one of our leaders has to speak to us, they're calm because it's not their problem. That's what's happening. I grew up in Louisiana. Our whole state would get slammed by hurricanes, and the governor would come on TV and be like, we're gonna stick in this together, all right? We're all in this together. He's clearly in Massachusetts, by the way. We're all in this together, all right? Y'all just stick with me, we're gonna get through this. You know what I mean? I think that dude freaked out because it was his problem. It's hard to stay calm when you're in the middle of something, you know? I wish there was video. There's no video. I wish he would just come out, because you know he yelled it. You know, he was like, no one is safe. It's happening to everybody, including really cool people who don't deserve this. God damn, I wish there was a video just to see him be like, it's an outbreak, y'all. We doing our best, but this is bullshit.
I thought I had it all figured out, you know. I was sexting. And sexting's a very precarious situation. You want to make sure you're sexting at the right time, you know? Because if it's like 8 o'clock, you still got other people texting you, you know? You don't want to accidentally send a text that's incoming to somebody because you opened the thing, you know what I mean? And it's also like, what if you're not that skilled? Like, what if I'm not good texting with just my left hand? Now you texting typos and stuff. It's knocking the sexy right out of your sexting. You know, it's like, I'm gonna fud your bass. It's like, nobody's into it now. You know? So I had an idea. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And I didn't talk to anybody about it. I had never heard anybody doing this, but in my mind, it was the best thing to do. I was like, I'm just gonna speak to text. So that way I don't gotta worry about the other hand and everything, and I can just like get in the zone and stuff. I don't have to worry about other people texting me and everything. And it went horribly wrong. Because I wasn't at home. I was at my childhood home. So I was in my room, but it wasn't my house, you know? And it was, 9 o'clock or so, and we were sexted that, look, I'll read you the thing right now. This is what. Okay. All right. So she's like, oh, okay. And what's good? What would you do if you were here right now? And then I was like, girl, I would tear those clothes off. And Mom, what are you doing in here? Mom, I had the door closed. You can't just open the door. I was just coming to see if you wanted dinner. No, I'm okay. Mom, get out right now. Boy, how you gonna tell me to get out somewhere in my house? I'm sorry, Mom, please, can you please leave and close the door? You know we don't have closed doors in this house. Which is true, that's a very like black family thing of like you not closing the door in my house. What you up to in there? And I was like, Mama, please leave, please, please leave. And she was like, all right, what's the big deal? I was like, nothing, Mom, just please get out of here. So anyway, girl, I would say... All right, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great night.
Make some noise for Josh Johnson!
So much is going into the Super Bowl this year. Not only is it Chiefs versus Eagles, there's so much more at play, you know? Like, everybody talks about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce because they're this idea of like the couple we imagine in our minds, but they're adults. It's like high school, but grown up. You know what I mean? Because she symbolically is like this cheerleader in our minds. This like head cheerleader. And it's not his position, but it's symbolically the quarterback in our minds. And so them getting together makes such perfect rom-com sense. That there are actually people who think that all of the NFL is fixed. Just to keep the Chiefs winning. Just to keep them going. And honestly, you kind of have to give Taylor props. There are people that think she's so powerful. She is single-handedly shifting the course of the NFL. You know? Because this is my thing with it. You know, if it's fixed, why would they be tackling so hard? You don't need to sell it that bad. If most of the teams know they're not going to the Super Bowl, I think you lay off of a couple hits. I don't think anybody's getting CTE as part of a script. I look at Taylor Swift, I look at what they did to Taylor Swift, especially that part of the season when her and Travis Kelce were just starting to date and they cut to her for no reason. And then people got mad that they were cutting to her. They'd be like, why do you keep cutting to Taylor? But Taylor can't control the camera. Taylor was just trying to eat. And then they cut to her, and then she's doing her best to probably not look annoyed, but also she's genuinely having a good time. She's there with her friends. Yeah, touchdown, yeah, right. But then people are like, why do you keep cutting to her? I don't know. This has never happened before. Cameraman's excited too. They might not even mean to cut to her every time. They're just probably like, man, this is a good play, but I wonder what Taylor's up to. Don't get mad at Taylor because the cameraman got a crush. And so then Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce together. Now Travis Kelce is an interesting dude to me. He really is. Because Travis Kelce, up until this point, I think, I don't know him that well, I don't follow him that closely, but I think he had like mostly, if not only, dated black women before Taylor, you know? And so he has like a fade. So this dude has a fade, and people were asking him about his fade because he has his platform raised. He was already super popular, but his platform got knocked up a few levels by dating Taylor. There were more eyes on him than ever before. And so then, you know, everyone was asking him about his fade. And then about exactly a year ago, from when I'm speaking right now, they asked him about his fade and what it was like to like invent that look. And to his credit, Travis Kelce said, it's the first day of Black History Month. What are you trying to do to me? Which, what an answer. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing I really didn't think about until that moment, is that if you're like a white dude, right? And something ignorant or even bigoted happens around you. Somebody asks an ignorant question or somebody just says something, right? The expectation, if you're a good guy, is to say something immediately, just really stand up and be like, hey, that's not cool, that's not okay, don't do that, right? You know, just really, you can't even give it a second. You have to be like, hey, stop right there, okay? Hey, listen here, pal, cut it out. Hey, look, buddy, don't go any further, all right? Gosh darn it, that's racist. Don't you dare, not in my house, not. Nah, get a load of this guy. No way, not today, brother, right?
That's the expectation, that you're gonna like notice it, you're gonna catch it, and you're gonna jump on it immediately. And if you don't do that, then you must have been with that thing. That's the assumption, right? But then you're also, and I really didn't give some of my white friends enough credit in this position. If you take too much of a stand, that's also suspicious. You know what I mean? You hear me? Like if something like ignorant happens around you, or an ignorant question gets asked of you, and then you're like, what? No! Racism? Not today! Nah, buddy, I'm putting my foot down. Like, because then people are like, oh, what? Are you hiding something? Why are you so amped up like this? You know? And so to his credit, he's like, guys, look, it's the first day of Black History Month. What are you trying to do to me? All right? I didn't invent that look, okay? I got a barber. He knows how to do the taper. Trim it down in the back, 2 or the 4. But if you want to fade, I know a guy. I know a dude, he's good. You know, he does mine. Travis Kelce's sitting there like, what kind of questions are you asking me? How do y'all not know any black people? You cover the NFL. What's wrong with you? You know? And Travis and Taylor together, they do, to me at least, you know, the little bit that I engage with it, because I don't necessarily follow either one of them closely, but every time I see them together, they do look like picture perfect in a way where I'm like, okay, obviously you're going to get the conspiracy theories, but the conspiracy theories were weird to me because they were like people upset. But what's there to be upset about? It's football. She's blonde. We're in America. This is the most American thing that could be happening. And there are people that are like, no, it's a psyop. I'm like, against who? It's a beautiful white couple. Who are we trying to trick? What is the plan here? That's how you can tell there's some people that just need to be mad about anything possible. I'm like, what? You're the one that said stop kneeling, and now you're mad at Taylor and Travis Kelce for holding hands. What's crazy about the Super Bowl for me is that no matter who wins, no matter who it is, the celebrations I've always found very odd. You know? I understand celebrating when you get the touchdown. I love those. I hate it when the NFL tried to like clamp down on any showboat, any celebrations, because you just did one of the hardest things in the world. Imagine if you did that for like a scientist. Scientist finds the cure and he can't even do a little. And you're like, Josh, why are you comparing scientists finding cures to players getting a touchdown? I'm telling you right now, they're almost as hard as each other. Because I have some pretty sizable individuals in my family, you know. And I have a cousin, he's 2'11", all muscle. If I wanted to get around him, I'd need something sharp. So trust me when I tell you, if I get around this man and then outrun him and then get a touchdown, I'm hitting it hard. I'm hitting it in his face because it may never happen again. I love like a good touchdown celebration. They spike that ball and then you see what moves they have, because these are big men. These are very big men. So they're not always the most agile. Like, they're good at running, but usually in a straight line. A lot of the times when these players fall, it's falls where, look, I'm not a professional athlete, but I don't tip that easy. Every once in a while, you'll see an NFL player run it, and then somebody just sort of moves their shoulder, and they're like, uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. That's my favorite, is when they catch it, and then somebody's too close, and they're like, we going down, all right. No, but when they get in the zone, they've spiked the ball, there's a couple seconds left, and they're allowed to celebrate. This is when you could really do it. And they hit something you didn't even think was possible, you know. Really flowy with it. You know what I mean? They use their hips and stuff. No, that's my favorite. I wish it was even longer. They should get more time to do it, you know? Like hockey has whole breaks for fights. You could let a guy run in and get on his hands and knees, and then the other guy's like, yeah! No, I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing to see them that excited, that happy. This is what they work for. This is what they put their bodies on the line for, and it's why they're in pain most of the time. These dudes retire, and it's not like they can just take an Advil. They just have headaches for the rest of their life. And so in this moment, they did what they came to do. They scored, maybe they won. Let them celebrate, you know? Some of the celebrations I don't get, though, like when they win and they have to throw some sort of liquid on the coach. I feel like we never ask the coach how they feel about it. Because they don't always look excited. It's almost like a requirement that whatever it is has to have some ice. And it has to be a surprise. They never do it from the front. It's always just poured all over the coach. Why is it? They win. They did what they came here to do, and they look at the coach and they're like, yeah, drown him. He'll love it. On top of everything, with Travis and Taylor and the Chiefs, you have the Eagles fans. Truly remarkable. They're terrifying. And it doesn't matter who wins, because whichever city wins, this happens every year, every Super Bowl, every Stanley Cup, whichever city wins looks like it's been attacked the next day. Why is it that the winning city looks so busted the day you won? Why are you tearing up your city? The team will win. And then their old fans will go out into the city and cause so much destruction, you would think the other team sent their city. Like, go get them, Kansas City. What they did to us. You know, I've watched it happen. You know, I lived in Chicago when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. And a bus. They were leaving. Everybody's excited. And then there was just like a group think, that's a bus. It shouldn't be right side up. Let's go correct that right now. And then the bus driver is sitting in the bus like, y'all, I'm your ride. Why are y'all? We're going down. And on top of it all, you have the Super Bowl halftime show performed by Kendrick Lamar. And as far as we know, SZA and potentially some other guests, you know. And this is wild. You know, Kendrick said it about himself, but truly, we're seeing astronomical, historical levels of him being the biggest hater in the world. Fundamental hate. A hater where I pray I never have a hater that plans as well and executes hate so efficiently as Kendrick Lamar. This man hates hate. The level of hate. Okay, so if you are not aware, in the beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, the first song that you could say maybe even kicked off the whole thing, some people say it was like that, but some people say it was first-person shooter. And in first-person shooter, Drake says, big as the what? Big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl. And I guess Kendrick said, challenge accepted. Because you're not ready for the level of hate I can bring. And then there was a whole beef, and this whole thing happened, and, you know, Kendrick kind of, I don't know, I guess ruined Drake's life. And then it's announced that Kendrick is gonna be doing the Super Bowl halftime show. And Drake, he started suing. He started suing different parties. He started suing in different ways, different lawsuits claiming different things, some defamation, some were just petitions to get information, claiming that Not Like Us, the song that I'm assuming plays in Drake's head 24/7. You know, that song that they use bots. They must use bots. That's why it's so popular and everything. And then he withdrew one lawsuit and he filed another lawsuit. And it would seem, I'm not Drake and I'm not on his team and I don't know his lawyers, but it would seem that all these lawsuits are to, in some way, hopefully, possibly, stop Kendrick Lamar from performing Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. That is what a lot of people think all of this is about. He just doesn't want him to perform that song at the Super Bowl. And so maybe he thinks that if he causes enough legal trouble and kicks up enough of a fuss, that the NFL will be like, hey, sir, Mr. Lamar, Mr. Morale. I heard it, great album. If you could not do this one, because we just don't want to be involved in any suits and stuff. I think that's what Drake was hoping. And it appears that has not worked, because then a representative for the NFL came out and said Kendrick can do whatever songs he wants, whatever, it's his halftime show, so let him perform, you know what I mean? And that's got to be rough. that must be rough if you're Drake to hear that, because now all Drake can potentially do is sue sound. That's the only thing he hasn't tried. If he comes out and it's like, hey, anybody making noise can get it, all right? It's the only thing I can think of. You know what I mean? Because it must be terrifying. If you're Drake, to think that Kendrick might perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl halftime show, one of the most watched events in television, period, might be him doing a song he wrote about you. A song that already, as I'm speaking, has won 3 Grammys. That's gotta be terrifying, to think that he might go out there and perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. And the audience knows every word. That would be terrible. That would be, because I would never want to know that. Even if somebody made a song that was devastating about me and my life, and it really tore me up and everybody liked it, I wouldn't want to know that they knew it word for word. You know? That's gotta be terrifying, to think that Kendrick Lamar might get out there and perform Not Like Us might be to a loud stadium of fans screaming. You know, try and strike a chord, and it's probably I think even scarier than Kendrick performing Not Like Us is the audience performing Not Like Us. Because honestly, anticipation is enough. That's how real entertainment works, you know? Whether he performs it 17 times or he doesn't perform it at all, it's already met the moment in that way, you know? Everyone kicking up a stink about it is what actually caused it to get so much attention, just to see if he'll do it, you know? I mean, I hope he does it. I kind of hope it's the only thing he does. Mainly because the Super Bowl halftime show is you know, recorded and it has all of its own production elements that gets them submitted for the Emmys. And so there's a chance that this Grammy-winning song might become an Emmy-winning performance. Oh, I will say though, sometimes it feels like with sports, it's the only time you see so much investment. You see so much come out, like just thrill, agony, all these emotions around a dude's team, around that game, around players and stuff. And I think it's because like sports is one of the few places, maybe even one of the last places, that like a man can express all the aspects of human emotion. He can cry over his team losing. He can be elated. He can be like giddy like a little kid or something. And it's one of the last like socially acceptable places. It's very easy to say like, no, you know, just cry. It's okay for men to cry, but you're not ready. I love when people say, like, no, come on. Just break through decades and generations of trauma to just, like, do what feels like what you want to be doing. No, the only thing stopping you is your mind. As if it's that simple, you know? Sports is one of the last few places that these bonds can be created and that you can fully express yourself. It even creeps up in little different ways. Things that you are innocuous enough, but they run cover for other things, right? Like, let's go. Every one of us here knows a man who has a water bottle. Maybe it's half full, maybe it's a quarter full, but he throws it up in the air. And it flips, and it flips. And it flips, and then if it lands right side up on a flat surface, he will lose his mind. He throws the ball up, it flips, lands right side up. Let's go! Like, let's go was just invented to run cover for dudes crying. It is. Go! It's the same mouth movement. It's the same shapes. And if you scream, let's go hard enough, you know, you can squint. And when you squint, people can't tell you're crying. Because we've all known a man. All of us here have known a man where his team, whatever the reason it is that he loves that team, it doesn't matter. His team is down. All right? Loved this team since he was a little kid. Memories going to the stadium and everything. His team is down. It's a very important game. playoff game. Maybe the game that decides whether or not his team goes to the Super Bowl. This team that he loves, who maybe has never got this far in a long, long time. And they're down with 3 seconds left. They have possession, and they throw a Hail Mary pass. All right? Wide receiver is running for his life as hard as he can. He jumps up in the air, and then by his fingertips, he manages to get control of the ball in the air. He clenches it tight. He lands. Touchdown. Touchdown. The team was behind, and now they're ahead. They've won. There were 3 seconds left. The game is over. And then your friend, who's not on the team, who's not at the game, your friend on his couch pops up in front of the TV. Let's go! Like truly, as men, I don't even think we would need let's go if we just felt more comfortable saying, I really needed that. Because I even try now to add more sports analogies in the examples that I make, because I feel like it accesses some people who don't get what I'm saying otherwise. There are people that are truly, we give them a bad rap and everybody makes fun of them and everything, but there are people who are genuinely very, very intelligent. You can tell they're intelligent because they find a game that they love and all the game theory around it and all of the possible combinations of what a play could be go through their head. They can screen a play perfectly, almost like it has the lines that we see on the screen, right? But for them, it's playing out perfectly. They know what's happening next. They know someone's made a mistake as soon as the play starts because they understand the game that much. They just don't ever know why their wife is mad. But I think if we incorporated more sports analogies in arguments, people would understand what went wrong. You know what I mean? Like maybe you're mad at your boyfriend or your husband because he forgot something. He forgot something that was really important, And maybe it was like your sister's birthday and you had so much going on that you asked him to go pick something up and then meet you at the party. And instead of going to pick it up, he just met you at the party. And now the place is closed. And so it looks like you didn't get your sister anything. And so you're upset with him because you asked him for this one thing. And instead of doing it, he just kind of blew it off, or he wasn't paying attention, or he genuinely just forgot and then showed up and he doesn't understand why you're upset. But if you say to him, look, it was fourth quarter. It was fourth quarter, and you're at the 3rd-yard line. Like, you're in danger of the other team getting a safety. That's how clutch this is. You only have a few seconds to pass off that ball, right? And if you don't do it just right, that's it, We're not coming back from this, And instead of looking out for your receiver who's wide open until 5 p.m. like I said, who's wide open. Instead of passing off to your receiver in that moment, you're looking at your tight end, you're looking at your other receiver, you're looking at defensive linemen for some reason, your head is just in the clouds, and out of nowhere you allow yourself to get sacked, right? I'm telling you, that husband, that boyfriend, these are good people. He would be like, oh, damn. Her present was the receiver. Oh. got you. My bad, baby, my bad. No. Even in instances that people are like insanely divided on, like to the point of threats, to the point of the threat of violence, even in political arguments, if you use some sort of football analogy, sometimes that cuts through, you know? Like if Trump is the quarterback. And he hikes the ball, because this is the play that he called. He called this play. Just so this was his play that he wanted. He gets to call the play. Not always, not every play, but this play specifically. He called this play because he wanted to do it, because he thought it was a good idea. This was his play, right? And then everybody was open. The tight end was open. The wide receiver was open. All right, defensive backs. Everybody was doing what they were supposed to do. Everybody on the sideline was cheering, giving support like they were supposed to, and everybody on the field was playing their position as best as possible. And the screen was even working well. You know, everybody's moving out of here. People are wide open, and then your quarterback, rather than throwing what could potentially be a touchdown pass, he just sort of threw it out of bounds. Which is confusing. So the next time that y'all huddle up, you ask him, you're like, hey, what was that? What happened? That was the play that you picked. Why'd you throw it out? Were you scared you were gonna get sacked? What is it a time thing? You're trying to stop the clock? Like you're trying to give him the benefit of the doubt in as many ways as you can. Like, hey, so what's the plan here? You're literally bent over, huddled up, looking in close. What's the plan? What are you doing? What is the goal here? Because I thought I was playing my position perfectly, and then you do the. So what's next? What happened? Tell me what happened. And then your quarterback is like, I think the ball was black. I don't know. You know? I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying that when I tune in to the Super Bowl on Sunday, I plan to watch a good game, hopefully a game that makes sense, hopefully a game that is epic enough that it can yield more analogies for my daily life. And if Kendrick Lamar performs Not Like Us, I'd be a liar if I didn't tell you that even though I wasn't on stage and I wasn't at the game, I wouldn't pop up off my couch like, let's go! Cincinnati, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much.
When I